Good morning. Hello, and welcome to ICRON's session. I am Melis Teksan. I'm responsible of supply chain industry practices at ICRON. And today, my associates from Bayer Pharmaceuticals, Lukas, Winkel, and Sebastian Körth, will talk about how they leverage decision intelligence to achieve resilience in the global pharma supply chain. So the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you very much. As Melis already said, I'm Lukas. I'm the product manager and owner of the supply chain use cases that we will be talking about today. I'm here together with Sebastian, who's my, let's say, business counterpart, senior supply chain analyst, and key users of the software that we will be talking about today. Just quickly about the agenda, I will start off by giving a broad overview of what we're doing, the challenges we are facing as Bayer, especially as Bayer Pharmaceuticals. And afterwards, Sebastian will dive a little deeper into what we're doing. Just quickly about Bayer itself, we're a global company, as you probably know, consisting of 3 divisions. One is crop science. We're producing a lot of pesticides, seeds, and so on. Second division is pharmaceuticals, which the 2 of us are representing and working for. And the third one is our smallest one, which is consumer health. Yeah, we have roughly 100,000 employees worldwide. We spend a lot of money on R&D, which we are quite proud of. More than 10% of revenue is going directly into R&D afterwards. And yeah, as I said, the 2 of us were working for Bayer Pharmaceuticals. So this is also what we will be talking about today. And I just want to go quickly over the challenges that we face as the supply chain function. As a pharmaceutical company, we are heavily regulated. We have life-saving drugs that where we're required to fulfill 100% service level. We are regulated in a way that we need to have a certain amount of iron stocks that we can't touch, things like that. We have highly specialized production facilities, especially when it comes to cell and gene therapy and those kinds of things. So whenever there's a disruption to our supply chain, this is usually not easily mitigated, and it can cause quite long downtimes in our facilities and machines and resources. We have very long production lead times, up to a couple of years. So this means that we need to be good at planning, because otherwise, the impact of bad planning will have an effect for a very long time, and can be a very big effect. So yeah, this is also one thing where we need to be very careful. Additionally, but this is more something about the current situation, as I said, we spend a lot of money on R&D, and at the moment we have quite a few launch brands, so brands entering the market, and those bring special challenges with it. We'll be going into detail on the topic later on, or Sebastian will be. So there's a lot of things that are very special about pharma production. We have a lot of different technologies, right? We're mostly, for most of our products, we're producing the full supply chain in-house, and we're only buying raw materials and packaging materials from external manufacturers. And so that means that, for example, if you're looking at API at the top left here, which is the production of active pharmaceutical ingredients, this is very, very different than pressing tablets, for example, or filling vials, things like that. It's closer to chemical production than it is to producing pills. Packaging, of course, is very different to bulk, right? And at one stage, you're actually producing the pills that will then be put into the blisters that when you go to the pharmacy and you buy it. So yeah, this makes it difficult and challenging. And yeah, in order to do that, we utilize different systems and different software. With that, I will be coming to the use cases that we want to talk about today. Invited by Icron to talk a little bit about our collaboration on how we tackle those challenges. One of the use cases where we're utilizing Icron's decision intelligence systems is our long-term capacity planning. As I said, we have very long lead times. So if we want to adjust our production capabilities to changes in demand, we need to plan quite far ahead. So one thing we're doing is long-term capacity planning, looking 15 years into the future, where we are trying to identify bottlenecks on our supply chain to support decisions on investing in new facilities or resources, or sometimes also divesting resources that we don't need as much anymore. This is done in a yearly cycle. More details afterwards from Sebastian. Second big thing we're doing, as I said, at the moment we have quite a few new brands that will be entering the market in the next couple of years, which bring their own unique challenges. So for those brands, which are also very important for our business, we will do on-demand modeling for production planning, because, well, if it's not an established brand, right, there's a lot of uncertainty coming with that. So this is why this needs some certain attention. And the last thing, talking about resilient supply chain planning, is our safety stock optimization. As I said before, we have quite a lot of requirements, regulations that require careful planning and also cost quite a bit of money when it comes to inventory costs, because as I said, if you want to achieve 100% service level, you need quite a bit of inventory in order to achieve that. And so two things that we're doing here is, on the one hand, multi-echelon inventory optimization to optimize for operational safety stock, and we complement that with a risk optimization model where we are trying to mitigate the impact of supply chain disruptions from certain events, earthquakes, fires, just simple resource downtimes, things like that, which is also done on a yearly cycle for usually our high volume brands. But one thing we've learned, just to say that, is that high volume brands doesn't necessarily mean high volume savings when it comes to bringing down inventory. So we also sometimes do that on demand for brands. We are hoping for savings or for higher savings. Yeah, with that, I'm handing over to Sebastian.
Thank you, and seamless transition. So as Lukas said, I'm more the business owner of the whole scenarios, models, and all these usage. And I will dive deeper into some of those models. So we have this long-term supply planning model. So as Lukas mentioned, 15 years in the future. The idea of this model is really to find spots in the future or lack of capacity in the future, so that we can shape our supply chain, our supply network accordingly. And so there's only one model for the whole pharma supply chain. And this model is on aggregated level, where we have all our 150 brands, where we have all our internal sites, as well as suppliers or CMOs. And what level of detail means aggregated? So aggregated means that, for example, on product level, on brand level, we have a regional demand. We have no SKUs, but we have, for example, a 20 milligram tablet in a 15 tablet blister. So that's our product in this model. If I say internal sites, it's not just capacity on site level, it's really inside the factory, the resources. So the lines, packaging lines, granulators, tablet presses, what you want. not going down to the very detailed cartoning machine and stuff like this, but the most important equipment is modeled there. So it's a rather huge model. And what model parameters do we have here? The first one is we have the demand forecast with 4 standard scenarios. Why do I mention standard scenarios? The problem is if you have 150 bands, for each of those bands you have a low case, a high case, a base case, maybe a special, I do not know, cannibalization of another product case. So it's very, very hard to put all this into one model. And that's why we define some standard scenarios where everyone knows what's in there and what's out of there. Yeah, and so that you do not have a wide mix of a lot of different stuff and that you can handle what you see there. Then the other input, which is important, is the network allocation decisions. So that we say, for example, we have a product with 30 million blisters of sales worldwide, and half of this is done in Germany, the other part is done in Japan or wherever, regional production or local production. And these allocation splits are also in the model. Sometimes they are just fixed splits. Sometimes it's an optimization model. We have modeled something like it's cheaper to produce there, it's more expensive to produce there, and please find the optimum. Available capacity, for sure. We do not need the capacity to limit the model, so there are no lost sales in the model. But to see actually in the output, this is our capacity and this is what we would need. Big model, I said, there's just one of those models. And as you see, there's just a yearly update. Yeah, because there are so many different sites and brand planners and site planners in the process of updating this model, so that we just do it in once a year in a roughly 5 months process. The 5 months sounds a long time, but this is not just putting data into it and looking at the results, it's really also talking about the results. So it's really planning, discussing. This is option 1, this is option B, this is a decision. So it's much more than just running the model. And then maybe there's one special thing. It's I mentioned those standard scenarios. Sometimes you have some brands where you have launch brands where you have 100 or more scenarios, and you can just extract a portion out of the model and make some separate calculations or optimizations with that. And maybe one point also to be mentioned, we use it for strategic projects. So the advantage, before we had this long-term supply planning model, whenever someone started a strategic project, reallocation between sites or whatever, they always needed to ask marketing for the latest sales figures, sites for their latest plans, and with that model, we just have everything always available. So, coming to the next slide. I'm a bit nervous, you hear that, I think. Challenge, new product, launch product. What's so special in this product? It has a lot of new indications, which means new potential patient groups, plus some pediatric launch, so lower dosages for children. So there's a high or a huge gap between what definitely will be there as demand and what might be potentially there as demand, depending on the outcome of the studies with the patients. So it can be 10 or 150. That's really hard to tackle. Then Lukas mentioned we have a very regulated environment. So you can't just produce something on a machine and then you find out, oh, this machine is no longer capable of producing everything. I switch to another one and I just do it. You need to register. You need to tell the authorities in the countries, this we want to do, are we allowed to do? We need to register, we have registration periods. In some countries it's easy, in others it takes sometimes even up to years. We have a complex network, several sites, and we have a lot of ongoing projects because we are currently in the midst of optimizing our whole supply chain environment. And as mentioned already, long lead times, more than 24 months. So you need to produce, for example, the drug substance up to 3 years before you actually sell the final tablet to the customer. We did this in Excel, manually. It takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, and that's why we switched to using an optimization model in Icon. Again, like the supply chain long-term model, we have launch bands here in the, with all the internal sites, same work center level, major suppliers, and we have the demand not on regional level, but here we have it on country level, because we need this registration information in there, when which quality or which drug substance quality is registered in which country. Then we have, here's a fact, that it's a new band, completely new. That's why you don't have any data in the ERP system. So we need to be very flexible if it comes to input. So in this case, the input is not just extracting something out of a system, putting it into an optimization model. There's an Excel and Python scripting and all the stuff in between. What are the parameters of this model? It's a demand forecast, for sure, so many of them. You have the regulatory calendar. So we tell the model in China, we are allowed to produce this drug substance until 2026, and then we start using this one, then we start using this one, and we ask the optimizer, give us a feasible production plan. Lead times, I already mentioned, capacity assumptions, yeah, for sure. When are we using this model? So we use it in our monthly integrated business planning cycle, plus whenever there is an upcoming decision, people can use it to calculate a lot of scenarios. We built this model last year, and just that you have an indication how long it took. So we had our regular planner, half of the time, 0.5 FTEs, plus an expert, 0.4 FTEs, and they worked together for 6 months to build this model. Of course, this included everything: extracting data, getting data, filling this regulatory calendar, creating the equations in the model, and so on and so forth. And after that, I asked the planner, now they have a reduced planning time of, yeah, they reduced it by 80%. Not to forget, this is now basically a template. So when we want to do it for, or use it for the next product, we can just set it up in half a month or 1 month. Maybe one thing, you don't see it, but 50 minutes solving time, it's a huge model. Yeah, because of this registration topic blows up the whole model. So it's really, even if it's running on latest solver technology, it's really a long, long time to calculate this model. But this doesn't mean that you need to run a scenario, then you wait 50 minutes, you can calculate the next one. Of course, you can just prepare a lot of them and just run them overnight. How much time do I have? Risk mitigation. We mentioned life-saving drugs. 100% service level is what we should achieve. So if there is a major disaster in a site, fire or breakdown of whatever, and you have 6 months of supply interruption, we need to cover that. And of course, we try to cover that with a lot of different activities. Yeah, like earthquake, we can cover with separate warehouses somewhere else. But some things you need to cover with inventories. And that's why we also built there a model. And let me go a bit more deeper how we do this. So first we built the supply chain model with the level of detail. So it's really from drug substance, tablet production, blister or filling, formulation of liquids. Everything is modeled, including all the options we have. Then we shut down one plant for 3 months, for example. And then we let the optimizer decide what is the best option to do. So he knows there's backup, there's alternative routing, there's maybe rush lead time, like if you have a 1 month supply interruption and you have a sea freight to Brazil, then maybe with air freight you can already cover that. Alternative routing or backups, here we even modeled something like you can immediately switch 50% to the other factory, or with a lead time of 3 months you can switch to another one. So that really all the options are on the table, and then we run the optimizer, and the optimizer says us, if you have this disruption, this is the lost sales you will face, with all the options already considered. So there's not a full 6 months of lost sales, but maybe 3 or 2 or whatever. And then comes the last point, which is kind of a modeling trick. We add in one time bucket, basically just 1 second before the event, we add an artificial node in the network where for free the optimizer can take whatever inventory he wants to have. And what the optimizer is then doing, he's taking the lowest possible inventory level you need additionally to cover whatever lost sales you want to cover. And this is working quite nice. It was just an idea first, but it turned out to be a really clever way. And that's why we do this now for most of our biggest brands. So 10, 15, 20 models are existing. I just shut down one node. So we do this then subsequently, running a lot of scenarios. Automatically, you shut down the first node, then you shut down another node. Then you take the results from one scenario run, add it as input to the next one. And this way we model basically the whole supply chain. Plus, at the end, we combine this also with some multi-echelon inventory optimization to bring in also the operative safety stocks into this model. I guess that was basically my part regarding the models. Now I will give you some business lessons learned we had. So first and foremost is if you use optimization, it's really a huge learning curve. You have seen, for example, this long lead time for this launch model, yeah, 50, 60 minutes for one scenario. People which are using Excel usually are accustomed to changing the content of a cell, clicking F9, and then they see latest 10 seconds later a result. This is not working with optimization usually. So you need to have a fully different workflow. Also, your modeling requirements will change. Yeah, so for example, this registration topic I mentioned to you, that is something which is not so common in standard optimization models. Here we had with Icon a very, very flexible partner. So we had a small team, we could build the equations quickly, and then we were able to adapt. Data quality, maybe you know this. If you just run algorithms and you have one flawed SKU or product, then all the others are still looking fine, but this one flawed looks wrong. If you use optimization and you have one master data field incorrectly with a high inventory value or whatever, it really makes your whole model a little bit looking worse. Yeah, and that's, again, also what I said in the beginning, this workflow. Yeah, then of course your planner is coming to you and saying this is all crap. Yeah, what is this optimization model doing? I mean, it's logical that this doesn't work, but it's the optimum solution with the wrong data. And so you need to really careful evaluate your input data quality. And the last thing, which I also find very important and which we learned the hard way, you need business expertise and tech expertise or optimization expertise. Otherwise, it doesn't work. Yeah, so 50-50 is maybe a good approach. You can't say, I just hire some optimization experts, give them my business problem, and they will solve it for me. And it will also not work the other way around. I just buy a nice optimization software, give it to my planners, and then it works out. You really need both. And that's where we currently are. 50-50 is a good ratio. So, handing back to Lukas. Do you have a mic?
Okay, I'll just take this one. Okay, yeah, and from project management perspective, as Sebastian already said, it is quite tricky to roll out and introduce a new optimization software because it needs, yeah, a lot of dedication, both from a technical perspective and also from a business perspective, and you need some. Even the planners need some knowledge about optimization, otherwise it will not work as desired. And also with optimization, yeah, it's a very fine line between, and it can be quite fragile, and a lot of specifications needed to be thought of when building on one hand the optimization software, and then afterwards when building the models on top of that optimization software. So yeah, you really need dedication on both ends, right? And we were very happy that we had that with Icron. We started our journey together, I think, 3 years ago, or even 4 years ago. We were quite fast with going live with our first our first use case, and then we continuously optimized. And up to this day, we still have a dedicated team within Icron supporting us whenever we have issues, and those issues come up quite a bit. And I think that this just needs to be clear for everybody that it's not you roll out your system and then it's one and done for, but you will continuously need to adapt, and there will be new challenges, and you start off a little simpler, and then you add in more complexity, and the optimization will take a little longer, and you will try to find the limit of what is possible technology-wise when optimizing. If it's running very fast, planners will ask for more complexity and more constraints and other things. And then we will add them in, and then at some point the model will take quite a bit of time. I mean, we saw 60 minutes runtime, which is not something you just, you can't just change something, run it, see the results, run it again, right? You can only do that a couple of times a day. So that's not really possible, but this is just the result of trying to find where the limit is. But yeah, this is necessary, right? You need to do those adaptations on the go, because as good as you might be when designing your solution in the beginning, there will always be something that comes up that you didn't consider in the first place, and you need to continuously monitor that. Okay, so far so good. I think we have one more thing. I'm not sure what happened to the slide here, but okay. I'm not sure, Melis, do you want to say something about that?
Yes, I can. Thank you. Thank you so much for the presentation, Sebastian and Lukas. So around 1:15, we have a round table, and we will discuss this more. If you have any questions, and you can visit our booth as well, so we can go and dive deeper of how we did this together. So the partnership is very important, of course, and it's a journey. We always improve what we have done, and we always encounter new avenues to go. And thank you so much. Thank you for your time, and hope to see you after the session as well.
Yeah, thank you very much.